Hey, it's Mick here from Mental Health Monday. Thanks for downloading this week's show. With everything that's going on from a coronavirus point of view, we've had to make a few changes in and around how we operate the studio. So we've had to, unfortunately, postpone the scheduled programme that we had planned for you. But we have got something a little bit special in its place. An opportunity to hear a conversation I had with a certain gentleman who spent a large part of both last year and the start of this year walking from John O'Groats to Land's End, and doing so in his Speedos. Speedo Mick became something of an internet sensation and a national hero throughout the course of the last few months. He's doing it for a wonderful cause, and he shares his journey with me now, which you can hear on the podcast exclusive to Mental Health Monday.
Mental Health Monday
on Radio City Talk
with Mick Coyle.
Tackling the stigma.
Radio City Talk.
How are you?
I'm still trying to warm up, like. I'm shattered. I'm pretty exhausted, but there's things to do, isn't it? Before it all dies down, you know what I mean. So we're still trying to fundraise, basically. But I'm good.
Well, I was going to say it's an incredible thing that you achieved, and I wonder whether or not, almost like the rock star who steps off stage in front of 100,000 people, then sort of goes back to, quote, normality. What's it been like these last few days of not wearing the Speedos and not having to walk for miles and miles and miles every single day?
Well, no, it's like a double whammy, because it's a massive relief, and of course, I'm just sitting with myself now after a lot of hype, so I've got to be careful with my mental health and got to look after myself, you know what I mean. So
now everybody knows you.
Yeah.
Most people in the country probably know who you are and what you've done. You've become this character who was appearing both on radio and TV, in the newspapers, and it was such a specific look you had during the walk that you almost became this sort of, well, you did become like a national treasure in a very short space of time.
Yeah. Someone else said that to me, national treasure, and I took a big gulp. Do you know what I mean? Because I'm just a human being, aren't I?
Does it make you think? Hang on a minute, it's just me, though.
It does. Yeah. So one of the BBC presenters said that to me, and I did take a few steps back, and I got a bit worried, to be honest. Do you know what I mean? To tag that onto me, because, like I say, I'm human. I make mistakes, basically. So I felt a bit of pressure when he said that to me. You're a national treasure, because if you step, if you say the wrong thing or you do the wrong thing, even unwittingly, it can become a problem then, you know what I mean? And so I felt a lot of pressure, and I thought, I'm going to be letting a lot of people down. So what I was worried about as well is losing my personality around that stuff, because you worry about it. You worry about that's the exact reason why people are following me, you know what I mean, because of the personality and the energy that comes out of the, well, it's not out of the Speedo Mick character, out of me pants, basically.
But I think there was one of the things that I think really connected with people in this time where things are quite tough for a lot of people, where, there are difficult things going on. We've got, storms and all sorts hitting the country, is that there's a bloke wearing a pair of Speedos, walking the length of the country. There was a brilliant sort of almost naive simplicity to the whole thing, where you could just go, well, that fella deserves a bit of support.
Yeah.
There was no airs or graces around it. No. There was no tricks or anything. It was just somebody's doing something you would never dream of doing it yourself. Yeah. So while he's doing it for you, do us a favour and throw us a few quid this way. Yeah,
that's exactly what's happened, basically. And it's just give people who might need a distraction from the woes of life. Life can be tough, man. You know what I mean? The next minute there's a man walking down the street in Storm Kira, you know what I mean, with nearly getting his knickers blown off. And it brings a smile to people's faces, you know what I mean? So it is simple. It's a simple gimmick, but it makes such a massive difference in people's lives, you know what I mean? And and I'm a sitting duck, aren't I? And I've known that since I've started going to all the football games in me undercrackers, you know what I mean? But it's like what you said there. It just seems to people just go, oh man, you've got to give him some respect. You've got to give him an high five. You've got to give him a donation. You know what I mean? And so that's what's been happening, for 5 years, basically.
I do like the fact that halfway through the walk or 3/4 of the way through the walk, you've done 750 miles through 2 storms, and there'd be lads on social media going, "Look, I'm a red, but this fella deserves a bit of support."
Yeah.
I think if you can see past the boundary of red and blue in the city, then
Absolutely, yeah.
you've got to recognise the brilliance of what you achieved.
Yeah. Well, I was on the train coming up to Liverpool on, was it Saturday?
Saturday, yeah.
Yeah, on Saturday, and so obviously all the I was at Watford. All the Liverpool fans were on there, So I'm walking through, dressed like normally, you know what I mean, and they're like, Speedo Mick, and they're all shaking my hands, you know what I mean, and I've had the support from both sides. Obviously Everton, the Everton fans, you know what I mean, they're being absolutely unbelievable. You know what I mean? Being fantastic they have, and Everton Football Club. But the Liverpool fans are all on board and all as well now. And I think they have been anyway. Liverpool got me on the pitch,
right.
For one. In a pair of Speedos with Everton and emblazoned on the backside. With me Everton scarf and all that, and all, they would all support me, man. It just seems to bring people together. You know what I mean? And, Jordan Pickford gave me all his notes. I was blown away by that. Honestly, I really was. You know what I mean? And despite me being a blue and them being a red, you know what I mean? It just seems to bring people together. And I've had that through all the football teams right across the country.
Speedo Mick is with us in the studio here at Radio City Talk. Now, last time, Mick, we spoke, you were about to embark on, in fact, you were just setting up Bodmin Moor, which is a terrible place to drive. And you were walking it. Now, when I assessed, because this was like a live radio event, and I kind of judged by the day that this was a tough day, because I think we'd either had the back of Kira or Dennis, and I know that across that part of the world, there is no escape. When the wind comes, there's no trees, there's nothing, there's no buildings. It's just you and the elements, and there's you in your Speedos and nothing more. And I kind of thought, if there's going to be a day where he's thinking, what on earth am I still doing this for? It was going to be that day. But at the same time, I think you just topped £224,000.
Yeah, I had, and I didn't know that. And we were talking as it was happening, wasn't it? But you were right, that was one of the worst days, because people were going, "You're going on to Bodmin Moor now, And I was going, yeah, I know. And but when I got onto it, like you say, it was just desolate, and the wind was just whipping. And so when I was talking to you, I had to stand, because there was a little bit of roadworks, so I had to stand behind a little road sign, so if anyone was driving past, because they were driving past slowly, all they could see was a pair of Speedos, you know what I mean, and the legs and me boots, because I was hiding behind it, so I could speak to you without the wind affecting the microphone on my phone. So I was hiding behind that, freezing, absolutely freezing, because as soon as you stop for 2 minutes, you are, you know what I mean, you're in trouble. When I was getting stopped a lot, but that day was just, I was really enjoying the interview. It was a really good interview, and I could hear that, and I could see that, that you would, you know what I mean, and but I wanted to move on as well. You know what I mean? I wanted the interview to finish, but you did warm me up when you told me just gone up to 224. I was like, get in. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, man. I mean, even the Bodmin Beast was hiding in a cave somewhere, you know what I mean? Nowhere to be seen, and there's me walking along in a pair of undies, you know what I mean? So,
well, I'm glad I caught you on a bad day.
yeah, that was a bad day, but you gave me some love, didn't you, with the 224,000?
No, absolutely. With that, Bodmin, you were almost there by that point. When you were going through,
say you.
Well, I was going to say, but you must have had experiences through Scotland, walking down past through Carlisle, all those different parts of the world where there's not many people find themselves walking that way.
No.
But there's you, in the trunks, and a bit of goodwill coming your way. Was there a cut-off point, or was there a moment halfway through you just thought, like, this is never going to end, or this is impossible, this just isn't going to happen? I've started this, but it'd be impossible. I can never imagine the end of it.
Yeah, and you know when that point was? On the second day.
Really?
The second day, because that was, again, like Bodmin Moor from John O'Groats. for 2 days. It's just an open expanse of land, you know, and the wind was just whipping. And sometimes you'd find a tree, and I stood behind the tree just for a few minutes, just to stop the wind from hitting me. I'd just stand behind it, and it'd just be still, just behind this tree, you know what I mean? And then I'd just stomp on and, you know, continue the walk. But yet the first 2 days, I thought, what was I thinking? What, you know what I mean? Where's this idea come from, to be honest? And I immediately began to get doubts straight away, you know, but, I mean...
What made you carry on at that point? What makes you think, I better go on for another day? I'll give it another day. Oh,
well,
go on.
That's exactly what I've done. I just said, I'll give it another day, you know what I mean? And I'll give it another day, and then I'll give it another... That's what I've done right the way through the walk. I couldn't look forward that much, because it was just too much to think about walking in that weather every day like that. So in the end, I was at first thinking, I was thinking about a week ahead, you know, or maybe even a week and a half. But within them 2 days, I just had to bring it right back to the day and just think, I just need to get to the next destination, you know, safely and, you know, alive, basically.
Mental Health Monday with Mick Coyle.
Radio City Talk.
Our guest in the studio is Speedo Mick. 2 Micks in the studio. One of us has just walked from John O'Groats to Land's End in our underpants, and it ain't me. Speedo, let's talk about the reasons why you were doing this. Just tell us about the charity you were fundraising for.
Okay, well, I'm just setting up my own charity, which is called Leave the Light On. Although we've got a little bit of an issue over the name, but we've got the solicitors that are onto it anyway. But yeah, so what I'd like to do is start some projects with some disadvantaged young people. That's my primary purpose for the charity, you know. And also we're going to include some mental health and some well-being as well. So that's what we fundraise for, you know. So I've been through all this stuff myself. I've been through, you know, a difficult time when I was a youngster, and in fact, mine carried on right through until my adulthood, you know, until I received help, and and the help I received was all linked to well-being and stuff like that, you know what I mean, meditation and just people believing in me when I didn't believe in myself. So that's what it's going to be. It's going to be all the stuff that I experienced that I didn't really think there was a way out of that, and there is, and I understand that now. So I'd like to pass that on to other people, young people, basically.
I think as well, one of the things that you hopefully will notice through this is that people who know the character Speedo Mick, and will think he's the fella who collects the money in his trunks. He's the fella who did the 1,000-mile walk. I think when they hear that you've been open to talking about mental health, you've been open to talking about problems, I think that will help a lot of people go, well, if the fella in his underpants can talk about it, then maybe I can talk about it. And I think maybe that's one of those, maybe an unintended consequence of this whole thing, that people will feel more open to that conversation because they think, well, if he can do that, then maybe I can do that too. Absolutely,
yeah, and that's always on the forefront of anything that I admit or say, you know, I've been through, you know, it's